Fine. So, firstly, this is Chandish, and I am an IPS officer of the 2018 batch, and I've been allotted to Tamil Nadu cadre. I'm very happy to come in front of you today and interact with all of you people. So, you have 3 months more for your prelims. It's in October, right? So, firstly, we'll have the session this way. First, I will talk about prelims in general and how it is different. And then we will talk about specific issues and specific tricks and some tips through which you can improve your scores in prelims. And then finally, we'll have an open question answer session using which you can ask any of your specific queries. Okay. Firstly, we'll talk about how prelims is different from mains. See, prelims is completely objective, and the questions are also very strange sometimes, and they can ask you anything under the sky. For mains, we have specific syllabus, and the questions are also like more or less from the syllabus, and you can predict the questions. But prelims, the problem is the syllabus is very open-ended, and often we cannot predict what questions they can ask and what areas they usually ask from. So that is one thing. And secondly, while mains is about remembering and reproducing, prelims is more about identifying the correct answer. So our focus should be more about eliminating the options and arriving at the correct option. So that should be your main main target. And also, prelims is a surprise thing. Sometimes questions come out of the blue, so we should be ready for all kinds of surprises, unlike mains where often you can predict most of the questions. And also prelims, I personally know many of my friends who have not cleared the exam though they have written 3 times and 4 times because they just missed by 1 mark or half mark or something. So we have to be very careful in prelims. And also the number of people who write and the number of people who are selected is also very, very less. So keeping in mind the ratio, our preparation should also be quite strong. Yeah. And also, one more point which we must remember in prelims is, while mains is about analysis and remembering good pros, cons and measures, prelims is more about smartness. So while mains needs more hard work, prelims needs more smart work, and you must try to use some smart tricks to get the answers also, apart from reading the basic books. So book list, see, firstly I'll start from fresher's perspective. Book list I've already written in my blog, but I'll once again tell for the convenience of many of you people. So coming to polity. See, polity, firstly, you must start with Indian Constitution at Work. It's a very good book. Make good notes of it. Because last year also, I remember, last 2019 and 2018 prelims, 4 to 5 questions have directly come from that. So read Indian Constitution at Work, which is the NCERT textbook for class 11, class 12 or 11, I don't remember. It's very properly, and make some good notes out of it. And next, one more book which has become important lately is Politics in India Since Independence, and also Contemporary World Politics. These two are other political science textbooks of class 12. They are also NCERT textbooks, and they are important because last year there have been some questions directly from events after independence, which usually UPSC does not ask. But UPSC, since they are asking, so all of you must read that also. I mean, you should remember the timeline, like when did the Indo-Chinese War happen, and when did Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan movement come up. So just remember the approximate timeline after independence, what are the major events, and try to remember the approximate timeline. And Contemporary World Politics is another NCERT. So in that, what you can do is, you try to see the organizations which are mentioned and the mandate. Like there are good points about ASEAN, UN and other major organizations. So you please read about them, and if there are any important points, please make a note of it. And the third important book for polity is Lakshmikant. See, Lakshmikant is single most important book for polity, and most of you would have already read that. But please try to revise 4 to 5 times at least before your prelims examination, Lakshmikant. And also many people don't do these questions, but there are some 400 to 500 questions at the end of Lakshmikant. Everyone, please do those questions. Like I remember when I gave my first attempt in 2016 and 2017, some of the questions were just modified form of the questions given at the end of Lakshmikant. See, at the end of the Lakshmikant, there are 2 types of questions. One is previous year questions, and the other one is the questions which have given by Lakshmikant sir himself, like a question bank. So you do both of them and try to revise from that, and also write down your mistakes which you come up. And this mistakes you must revise before the prelims exam. See, this simple thing which I did in my 2016 and 17 attempt, it gave me some 4 to 5 questions directly. Like when I tried those questions, some mistakes were there. So when I did those questions and I remember my mistakes, in the exam I could directly mark them. So please do all the questions given at the end of Lakshmikant, and also the previous year questions which are also given at the end of Lakshmikant. So this is about polity. See, polity funda is very simple. Do Lakshmikant properly, do these questions properly, revise Lakshmikant multiple times, do politics in India since independence, contemporary world politics, and also the Indian Constitution at Work. These 3 NCRTs, revise properly, and Lakshmikant done. So make good notes out of these NCRTs and Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant, you can underline all if you want, you can make some notes. So if you do this, it is done. So polity, some 10 to 15 questions are coming every year and they are in your hand. And see, next one is, see, people who are tech savvy can use your apps. So there is Constitution of India app, or else you can use Constitution of India DD Basu. So it's a simple bare act. So whenever you're feeling bored, like there are many people who travel in metro, there are many people who travel in in car or whatever, bus. So whenever you're free, you just make your you just take Constitution, read 20 articles per day. Like say today you take your phone, see the articles, and just try to keep revising them. So that will help you in mains also. Like even now, after many years of preparation, I still remember most of the articles which I've learned during my first attempt. So polity, simple. So just do this. Bare act, you must keep reading. Yeah, that's what I told you. App. So in the app, you please keep revising. Okay, so this is about polity. See, economy. Earlier the questions were specific. Like they were asking questions about monetary policy and all. But now the questions, they're not asking about monetary policy. They're not asking very direct theoretical question. But still, there are few NCRTs which all of you can refer. So the name of it is Macroeconomics, Class 12th NCRT. So that is a very wonderful book. So you can go through that. They have given all fiscal policy, monetary policy, and all the basics. So your basics must be strong in economy. So you read those things. And and there's one more textbook called Indian Economic Development. So that also you can see. So that you read it like a storybook. I mean, you don't read it for the sake of exam. Just read it like a storybook, and you'll know that you know the themes, like what is happening in the economy, how did India develop, how we change from closed economy to a market economy. So you see that, and you read from that textbook. That is also a good book. But macroeconomics textbook, NCRT, class 12, this you must read properly. So this is one thing. Economy. See, and next important thing for economy is economic survey. See, all of you must read economic survey part 1 and part 2 both. I mean, see, part 2 is very detailed, but I will say giving one read will help you for mains. Though not for prelims, it will definitely help you for mains. And these days, they are also asking questions like how India's GDP has been across years. What is the trend? Has it been increasing or has it been decreasing? Such questions are also being asked. So for those, you must also go through that. Part 2 of economic survey. And part 1, you must anyway read. Part 1 economic survey. Please don't read summaries, okay? You read economic survey on your own. And if you want, you can highlight it and read from that. Or you can make some notes also. You can do any of it, this or that, anything is fine. So this is about economy. And so economy is simple. So just read macroeconomics textbook and Indian economic development is one more NCRT, and the third one which I have told you is economic survey. Economic survey, do part 1 and part 2 properly. Part 2 you read it like a storybook, I mean just have a glance. Part 1 you have to read properly. So part 2, while you are reading, please remember that you have to note the trends. Like these days UPSC is not asking what is the GDP of India. See, the questions are like how the GDP of India has been over the years. Has it been increasing? Has it been decreasing? What is the trend? So the questions are like that. So always whenever you're reading something in economic survey, see how the trend has been, whether it has been increasing, decreasing, or there has been sudden drops, ups. So all those things you remember while you are reading economic survey. So this is about economy, polity I told you. Next, freedom struggle, India struggle, freedom struggle. So freedom struggle, it's very simple, okay? So just read Spectrum Publications, that small book, their publications about India's freedom struggle. And also if you want, you can read the NCRT of class 12, old NCRT, modern India. So see, the problem with Spectrum is, it's very exam oriented. It is not like a storybook. So you might get bored also. So you can couple it with Modern India NCRT and read that, and after that you read Spectrum. Modern India NCRT you can read like a storybook, so you'll know the approximate sequence of events. And once you do that, if you read Spectrum Publications, then freedom struggle will be taken care of. So that will be done. Next, so next we'll talk about ancient history and medieval history. See, ancient history, medieval history, these two are such topics where even if you read a lot, the questions might not come from them or might not come from what you have read. So our strategy should be, you read minimum things, but you try to keep revising them as much as possible. So what you can do is, ancient India, there's an old NCRT, and medieval India, there's an old NCRT, class 11 and 12. I think one is by R.S. Sharma, the other is by Arjun Dev. Sorry, I don't remember the authors. But just remember that old NCRTs, ancient India, old NCRT, medieval India. There are 2 books. So this, you go through them once and try to make some notes, okay? See, earlier, UPSC was just asking about art and culture, like till 2016, 2017. But last 2 years, 2018 and 19, it is asking even the administrative reforms and also other things which are not usually asked, which do not come under the explicit definition of art and culture. So for that, you have to read those ancient history and ancient India and medieval India, old NCRTs also. So these two are very important. So please remember to read those two. So next, art and culture. So for art and culture, what you can do is, see, there are wonderful books by Tamil Nadu government, class 11 and 12. So you read those books. They are like very student friendly. So these books, they just give most important facts and most important things which you have to remember. So that you can remember, that you should read once. So Tamil Nadu, class 11 and class 12 books, very small books, not more than 100-150 pages. So that you can do. And there is one more NCRT, Introduction to Fine Art. So that also you read. It is very important for mains, but for prelims also it will help you. Like that book is very good in the sense that it divides the topics and it teaches you. Like temples are dealt separately, and rock cut architecture is dealt separately, bronze architecture is dealt separately. So all these are dealt separately. So it will help you. So read that book also, Introduction to Fine Art, and coupled with and add it with Tamil Nadu class 11 and class 12 books. So someone is asking old or new. See, I told very specifically it's old NCRT, class 11 and class 12, ancient India and medieval India. One author is R.S. Sharma and the other author, sorry, I don't remember the author. So this is about art and culture. And next we'll talk about, science and technology. See, science and technology is one subject which is very open-ended, and also sometimes even if after reading a lot, questions may not come. So my strategy was very simple. I used to read very less for science and technology. So first source which you can use is the Vision book, the Vision PT 365, which will come before the exam. So you read that PT 365 Science and Technology, and if you want additionally, you can read Insights also. Insights also releases a book just before prelims, Science and Technology. You read that. So these two you must read, because these days UPSC is asking more of current aspects in science and technology. Earlier it was asking theory questions. So now it is asking current questions only. So you read these two properly, and then if you have time, you can use any coaching material notes. Like I had taken coaching in Vajiram and Ravi, so I used my sir's notes. So that did not help, but sometimes UPSC might ask theory questions also from science and technology. So for that you can refer that. So science and technology theory questions. Firstly, I told you do vision and insights, both of them. Science and technology, PT 365, or the book which releases just 2 months before prelims, and add it with any coaching material notes, Vajiram, Sriram, or anything. So one notes you can do. So that is one thing. Next, for science and technology, what you can do is, if you have time, you read NCRTs of 8th, 9th and 10th. See, these days they're not asking, but sometimes UPSC is crazy. I mean, prelims especially, is the pattern changes every now and then. So you can read class 8th, class 9th and class 10th NCRT science. So those are very simple textbooks. So read once and try to make notes if possible, and no need to read again. So that is about science and technology. And few people read Shankar for science and technology. If you want, you can read that. Otherwise you can just skip it. So science and technology, these are the bare minimum. See, all of you remember that I am telling only those books which are most important and which I have referred and which I feel are sufficient to get 120 plus. So there are many books in the market and you can use other books also, but the books which I am telling are the bare minimum which everyone must follow. So that's what I am saying. That's about science and technology. See, next, environment and ecology. See, this is one crazy subject. Like earlier it used to be my nightmare. I was always scared of environment and ecology, but after preparation it used to be my strength. So what you can do is, for environment and ecology, similarly, so just like as I said for science and technology, there are books by Vision IAS and Insights on India which are released just before the exam. So you revise both of them multiple times, 2-3 times, and then try to underline something and make some underline some points or make some notes, anything whichever you're comfortable with. And then also, see, many people might not read this, but there are some ICSC textbooks for class 9th and class 10th. So ICSC environment and ecology books. So those are wonderful books which everyone should read. Very simple books, some 80 or 90 pages. So those two books, if you read, most of your environment and ecology theory part is done. So current affairs, you are revising from Insights on India and Vision IAS. So for theory, you use ICSC class 9th and 10th ecology and environment textbooks. You can find them in the market. I mean, you can ask. This is one. And also next is class 12 NCRT environment and ecology. See, class 12 biology, there are some last 5 chapters which are very important. So those are also very important for ecology and environment. So those also you must do. NCRT class 12, last 5 chapters in biology textbook. And also in chemistry textbook, there is a chapter about pollution. So that also you can refer. So these are the basic books for environment and ecology. See, many people follow Shankar IAS, but I use Shankar IAS only after reading all of these, and I read only those things which are not covered in these things. So first, what you do is you read ICSC class 9th and 10th, simple books, small books for ecology and environment. After that, you read class 12 NCRT, last 5 chapters. After that, you can revise Vision IAS and Insights on India. Once you do this, what you do is you use Shankar IAS for reading those topics which are not there in any other things. Say for example, agreements. See, there are many agreements like climate agreements, Kigali Protocol or Paris Agreement. So all these agreements are not in those books. So these, for reading about these things, or Montreal Protocol or so many other protocols, you can use Shankar IAS. And also you can use Shankar IAS for reading about wildlife and biodiversity. Biodiversity, most of it will be covered in class 12 NCRT. But those aspects which are not covered, you can read Shankar. See, Shankar is a very bulky book. and it's full of content. So you must use it selectively. I never read that completely, and because it's not possible to revise it. So what you do is you try to do that only after doing all these things. Yeah. So I've told you about environment and ecology also. So next, what is the meaning? Yeah, geography. See, geography, very, very simple. Just do class 11th and class 12th NCRT properly multiple times. And also, if you have time, read class 8th, 9th, 10th NCRT also. No need to read GC Leong or any other geography optional textbooks. No need to read all that. Geography, the questions have been very straightforward. Please read NCRTs properly, and class 11th and class 12th, and also if you have time, class 8th, 9th, 10th also. No need of GC Leong. And geography, more important is map questions. These days there have been so many map questions. So what you can do is, see, there is a textbook, there is a book called Geography Through Maps. It is written by Prem Patel. So this is basically an optional textbook. But what you can do is, you can read that book which is for optional subject in prelims point of view. For example, if you buy that book, there are many chapters like hills, plateaus, rivers, and also important mines. So all these things, there is also some 3 to 4 line description also. So what you do is, you buy that book, Geography Through Maps by Prem Patel, and you try to like daily 10 to 15 minutes you see that. Like for example, they have a separate chapter called lakes. So in lakes, they'll give each like they'll give all the lakes in the country, and they'll give 2 to 3 line description for each of it. So what you can do is, you read that and also read the description. Whenever you're free, you can revise that. So I hope all of you got the point. Yeah. And geography, one more thing is Atlas. See, Atlas, whenever you're feeling bored or whenever you're frustrated with preparing for prelims, you can go through Atlas. I used to do that. So it was my favorite pastime. So I used to take a physical map of the world, of India, and I just try to remember from top to bottom. Like say the bottommost hills are this hills, and from this how does it go? Varushnad Hills, and where is Javadi Hills? And Eastern Ghats, what are the different branches? Western Ghats, what are the different branches? So I used to remember like that. So whenever you're feeling bored, you see world straits and canals also. That is also very important. UPSC loves canals and islands. Like last year, what they did was, not last year, when I had written my prelims in 2016 and 17. So there were simple questions like, which of the following islands are closest to Andaman and Nicobar Islands? So they gave Sumatra as the option, they gave Java and other things. So these are simple things which we often ignore. So what many of you can do is, Atlas, when you are reading Atlas, read it with a wider perspective. Look at the various canals, look at the various straits, look at the various islands and other bordering states, bordering countries. So look at someone was saying, like, when I was preparing, my teacher told me, don't read Atlas with a narrow perspective. Look at it broadly. Like when you are looking at Assam, so you should not look at Assam per se. You have to see Assam is bordering which countries, Assam is bordering which states. So how many states does Assam border? Assam shares a maximum border with which country or which state? So it's like that. So that is one thing. That's about geography. So next. Yeah. See, many people are asking how to read current affairs. See, current affairs, what you do is, you read Hindu properly from prelims perspective. Like, before you prepare, what you need to do is, you see previous year questions, how the questions have been, how UPSC is asking questions. So then you'll know there are some areas which UPSC loves. So when you know that, you have to read newspaper like that. For example, international reports is one area which UPSC loves, and it tries to ask questions every year. So every year there are 2 to 3 questions on international reports. So whenever newspaper has something about, let's say, World Development Report, so you must see which organization publishes that and what is the theme of the latest report and things like that. So this is one thing which you can do. And see, Hindu, read it daily for around 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Initially, I know it will take time. Like the first time when I started Hindu, I used to take 3 to 4 hours. But after that, I reduced a lot. Now I do it in 45 minutes. But you take at least 1.5 hours, and whichever you think might appear in prelims, just have a small book and try to note it. Say, for example, an important convention had taken place, like BRICS summit had taken place, you can note it down. And at the end of the month, when you get the monthly book, you read all those points which you could not read in newspapers, because the monthly books, they cover many newspapers. And like here you are just one person reading the newspaper, there are some 10 people sit, they read the newspapers, they prepare, and then they make that notes. So what you do is, daily you read Hindu, try to mark any important points or write down any important points which you find which is important for you. At the end you try to write down any other points, or try to reconcile it with the monthly current affairs book. See, you can follow anything. You can follow Insights current affairs also, Vision also. I used to follow Vision because I found it to be holistic during my preparation time. I don't know how Vision is there now. So please check it, like check the quality and you may decide. And see, for now there are only 2 to 3 months for prelims. You will get current affairs books by Vision IAS. You'll also get current affairs books by Insights. See, follow any one coaching institute's material. I followed Vision IAS. So I used to take the books, economy, polity, which monthly compilations you get, PT 365 books. And I used to make some notes out of it, because see, each book is around 70 to 80 pages and there are 10 books. So it comes to nearly 800 pages, which you cannot revise before your exam. So what you can do is, you try to mark only those things which you feel. See, always my strategy for prelims is, whenever I used to read, I used to think like an examiner. For example, I am reading environment and ecology. So I used to think, okay, from this point, from this article or from this page, what questions can UPSC ask me? So I used to think like that. So whenever you are reading, you think like that only. Think like an examiner and you prepare. So people were asking how many years current affairs. See, you read 1 year current affairs and more than 1 year current affairs. If any questions come, it's okay. Our target is not to get a 200. Our target is to get 120 plus. So read 1 year current affairs properly. Other time you can ignore it. So think like an examiner. And for example, when I used to read economy PT 365 book, PT 365 is the monthly compilation which comes 2 to 3 months before prelims, where all the current affairs material is there. So I used to take that, and that 80 pages book, I used to cut it down to 10 or 15 pages so that I can revise it before the exam once again. See, remember one thing, reading more is not important. Reading the same thing multiple times is more important. So I used to read Vision IAS only, but the notes which I made, the 80 page notes, which I used to cut into some 10 to 15 pages, I revised multiple times. So always though my friends used to read a lot, I read less, but I used to revise it multiple times, and that helped me a lot. So my suggestion for all of you is also that those PT 365 books which come, all of you try to reduce it. See, one way of reducing, I'll give you my strategy of making notes. See, I never used to write full sentences in my notes. For example, let's say there is a sentence like, let's say Western Ghats. Western Ghats are extended. Western Ghats go from Gujarat till Kerala on the western coast of India. So this is a big sentence. So in my notes, I will not write all of this. I'll just write Western Ghats. I'll write a short form WG, and I'll put GJ, Gujarat to Kerala. WG, I'll put semicolon, GJ to Kerala. So this phrase will tell me the meaning of whole sentence. So what this will make is, it will make your notes short and you can revise it in very less amount of time. So always write only keywords, and always try to write in short forms, and also write use arrows as much as possible. So for example, in this question, I will write Western Ghats and I'll put an arrow and I'll put KR to GJ, or KR and I'll put colon or hyphen and I'll put GJ. So try to make as less notes as possible. Your aim, see, remember, you have to, whatever your notes you write today, you have to revise in before the exam day. So if you write more today, you cannot revise. So try to write as less as possible so that you can revise on the day before the exam. So that is one thing. So that's about current affairs. Keep it simple. Revise all these books. Keep reading Hindu daily for 1 to 1.5 hours. And also, even while reading Hindu, think like an examiner. Someone is asking about editorials of Hindu. See, since I am talking about prelims only, I did not talk about editorials, but please do read editorials. They are very important for mains point of view. And if you have time, don't read Indian Express, but just read editorials and explained section of Indian Express also for mains. That will be very helpful. So those two you should do. Okay. So see, I have told you the basic things, all the subjects and all. So yeah, one more area. Now I'll tell you most important tips or strategies through which you can get higher number of, through which you can get higher scores. See, one thing which you can do is, you make charts and tables for areas which UPSC loves a lot and asks questions every year. So for example, during my attempt, what I did was, in front of my study table, I stuck all the tiger reserves in India zone wise. So for example, I put sticky notes and I wrote tiger reserves separately. South zone, what are the tiger reserves? North zone, what are the tiger reserves? West zone, what are the tiger reserves? And I used to, there are some 43 or 44, and I used to revise it every day in the morning for 10 to 15 minutes. So you do the same thing. So even now I remember most of the tiger reserves. Like during my preparation in the sticky notes for South zone, I had written that many tiger reserves like Kalakkad Munda, and Bandipur was a tiger reserve, and in Telangana there was Nagarjuna Sagar, and Adilabad there's a tiger reserve. So try to remember zone wise so that you can remember easily. So this you got it right. So whichever are the things which you cannot remember properly, you put sticky notes in that right zone wise. See, our mind is such a thing. When you read 45 names, it will not remember. But when you read 45 names in 10 different categories, your mind will remember very, very well. So that should be a target. So what you do is, wildlife reserve, tiger reserves, or any important national parks, just make some sheet, divide it in state wise or divide it in zone wise or anything like that. So when you divide like that, your mind will still remember. So, and also you can remember acronyms also. Like, for example, I still remember one of the acronym for Maharashtra Tiger Reserves. I wrote something like MTS PNB, Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh. So I remember like that. S is for Sahyadri, T is for Tadoba Andheri, P is for Pench, N is for Nagzira. So MTS PNB, sentences like this. So that you remember. Have some keywords, sentences like this, and tiger reserves, you cut it and you into different zones and you remember. So tiger reserves is one thing you can do. And second important thing which you can do is, UPSC also loves wild animals. I don't know why, but every year there are some questions on wild animals like hippopotamus or rhinoceros or anything. So what you do is, you make a list of all the state animals. Like when during my preparation, I told my brother to make it. So what I told him to do is, you see which are the state animals of different states, and you tell me, and you give me a list, and you check the IUCN status of that, and also some 3 to 4 features of that. So when you do like this, you will know most of the endangered animals in India, because most of the states, the endangered animals are those which have been given recognition as state animal. For example, elephant is an endangered animal. It comes under IUCN endangered status. Tiger also comes under IUCN endangered status. Elephant is the state animal of Karnataka, I think. And tiger is the state animal of tiger or elephant. One of it is for Karnataka. So like that, there are different endangered animals which are state animals of different states. Like snow leopard. Snow leopard is the state animal of Arunachal Pradesh or I don't know, some state, and clouded leopard is the state animal of Meghalaya. So these have IUCN statuses. So what you do is, make a list of all the state animals of different states, see the IUCN status, and also try to remember some 3 to 4 features. See, this helped me. Don't think that it's a waste of time, because in like when I had written 2017 attempt, like because of this exercise, there was a question on rhinoceros. So rhinoceros, many people think that it is endangered, but that time the status was vulnerable. I remember it because I had made the list, and rhinoceros was the state animal of Assam or some state, and I could clearly remember that it was vulnerable. I eliminated that option and I got the answer. So you got my point, right? So wild animals is one chart which you can make. IUCN status. IUCN status you must remember, and some features of it. So this is one more thing which you can do. And one more chart which you can prepare is reports. See, reports is another area which UPSC loves. Every year 1 to 2 reports will definitely come. So what I did was I made a chart. In that chart I wrote IMF, I wrote World Bank, I wrote UN. So I wrote some 10 things. So in that I wrote what all reports they make. So for example, IMF makes report 1, report 2, report 3. World Bank makes World Development Report, this report, that report. And then one more thing is World Economic Forum. This also makes so many reports. This I used to revise daily, like 2 to 3 times. So this you can do, because every year I'm telling you, you can go and check the papers. There are 2 questions from reports, like a report, World Development Report is by which organization. So compulsory 1 or 2 reports will come. So for reports, you do this. You make a small 1 sheet only. 1 sheet, major organizations, World Economic Forum, IMF, World Bank, what are the reports they make, and just keep revising that. So this is one more chart which you can make and which will definitely help you, and it helped me. 2 questions are in your pocket. Like 2 questions you will definitely get. So yeah. So one more thing another strategy, simple trick for which can help you is, see, for history, see, in freedom struggle there are many newspapers, there are many organizations. So in history, freedom struggle, you make a similar report or a similar table for newspapers, who are the founders, organizations, who are the founders. So for example, like I still remember in my notes, B.R. Ambedkar I had written, Bahishkruta Hitakarni Sabha, and also Forward Bloc. Sorry, not Forward Bloc. So some 4 to 5 organizations were there for B.R. Ambedkar. Subhash Chandra Bose also 4 to 5 newspapers were there. 4 to 5 organizations were there. So all these things. So what you do is you take the help of this Spectrum book, and you make a list of all the major newspapers and their founders, and all the major organizations and their founders. See, every year UPSC, if you want, you can check the previous year prelims papers. 1 or 2 questions will come from organizations, and 1 or 2 questions from newspapers. Like sometimes this will come and sometimes that will come. So for freedom struggle, you should make short notes like this. And one more short notes which you can follow is for acts. See, one more area which UPSC loves in freedom struggle is acts. Like it will ask you, it will give you a feature and it will ask you, this is a part of Charter Act 1813, Charter Act 1833, or Government of India Act 1919, Government of India Act 1935. So in my freedom struggle notes, what I did was, I made a table. I wrote Charter Act 1813, Charter Act 1833, Government of India Act 1919, Government of India Act 1935, and then Wavell Plan, and then Cabinet Mission. I just made for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And daily I used to see that. So even now, after leaving the preparation also, I still remember Government of India Act have which features, Government of India Act 1935 has which features. So read it progressively. Like see, it's a development of India's constitution. So you will know that Government Charter Act had some developments, another Charter Act had some more developments. So it's a series. So try to remember in that series only. So this is another area which UPSC loves and which you must focus. Acts, Government of India Act, all these acts which are there in freedom struggle. So I have told you about acts. Also, see, 1940 to 1950. Okay, someone has told that I have to speak slowly. Okay, fine. So 1940 to 1950, there are many events. Okay, so what you do is you should remember the series or the timeline approximately. So you should know what came first, whether Wavell Plan came first, whether Cabinet Mission came first, or whether Cripps Mission came first, and what were the events. After that, what happened. So try to remember the approximate timeline. So this you can make. So 1940, what happened? 1942. So 1940 to 1947, there are many events which you must know the approximate timeline. Like UPSC sometimes will ask you, arrange the following in the in the order of their happening. So this is one more thing which always comes. So this, please try to remember to read. Okay, so I have told you that. Next, I have just made some points. I'll tell you. Yeah. So tables and charts. See, for geography also you can make. Geography, there are some winds. Like some winds are hot winds, some winds are cold winds, and ocean currents. Ocean currents is another important area where many questions come. So what you can do is, ocean currents also you can make some small chart. Like what I did was, there was a world map diagram in my room. So in that only I drew the currents, and what are the warm current I drew with red pen, and cold current I drew with blue pen. I used to revise it again and again. So that also you can do for geography. And yeah, reports I told you, organizations. Yeah, one more area which UPSC loves is international organizations. See, there are many international organizations like UN, and there are also organizations like BRICS and also UNESCO, so many organizations. So try to remember the mandate of them and approximately who are the members, like Gulf Cooperation Council, which country is not there, and BRICS and Mercosur, all South American countries are there. So this is another area which UPSC loves. So UPSC, the questions will be simply like, which of the following is not a member of BRICS, or which of the following is not a member of Mercosur, or which of the following is not a member of North American Free Trade Agreement. So something like that. So these are another, this is one more area which UPSC loves to ask and which you must focus on. Okay, so this is about the basic some areas which can improve your score. See, now I'll tell you, yeah, some see, prelims is not just about content. Prelims is also about your strategy, how you do it. See, so attempting the paper is very, very important. So what you do is, prelims, there will be 100 questions and you have to attempt them in 2 hours time. So 100 questions and 2 hours time. And often I've seen many of my batchmates who could not complete the paper and who were stuck in between and the time is up. So what you do is, you can follow my strategy which I followed and which always helped me to score good marks. So what you do is, do it in multiple iterations. Like for example, my target was always like, in first 1 hour, I will see the whole paper once. So I will go through the whole paper. So what I'll do is, the questions which I know, I will tick it. The questions which I don't know or completely, I'll make a small cross on it. The questions which I know partially, I will round it. So there are 3 things. Either you tick it, or you cross it, or you round it. Eliminate the options and just round. For example, there are 2 options. I'll just eliminate the 2 options and I'll circle the other 2. So in my first iteration, in my first 1 hour, I will go through all the questions from 1 to 100. So if I think the question I will not get, I will not waste my time on it. I will just put a cross and I will go. So in my first iteration, my target is, in my first 1 hour, I should have seen all the questions at least once, identified which are difficult questions, identify which are the questions which are guessable, or in which 2 options are zeroed in. So in my first 1 hour, I'll do this. So I'll tick all the easy questions, and then I will leave the difficult questions, and I will circle the questions in which if I spend little more time, I will get, and which I can get by eliminating my options. So this you can do. In my second iteration, in the next half an hour, what I will do is, I will see all those questions which I have circled. I will not see the questions which I have crossed. So I will see all those questions which I have circled, and I will try to get options from that. And in my last half an hour, 20 minutes, I will see the questions which I have marked a complete cross, because I know that I might not get that question, or I might take more time to do that question. So if you follow this method, you will see all the questions, all the 100 questions at least once. You would have identified the difficult questions. You would have identified the easy questions also. So this will ensure that you'll get a minimum certain number of questions right, and based on that you can decide. Yeah, and one more thing is, whenever the questions when the question paper is tough, let's say the paper is very tough, like 2016 was very easy. That was my first attempt. So when the paper is very, very easy, I'll try to attempt more. I'll try to attempt less because I know that whatever I have put, I am sure, and those I'll definitely get correct. For example, in 2016, I attempted 85 questions and I had got 76 or 77 wrong, 76 or 77 correct. Because that time the paper was very easy and I knew that even if I attempt 85, I'll get at least 70 correct. So that is one thing which you can do. When the paper is easy, try to attempt little less so that you will not do many wrongs. But for example, 2017 the paper was little tough. So in that year, I had to attempt more questions because there are many questions which I was not sure and which I can lose on. So in my 2017 attempt, I attempted some 92 or 93 questions, out of which again I got some 70 correct. But I did not get as high as in my 2016 attempt. So remember this, when the paper is very easy and you are sure that you will pass or you will get a good number corrects, 60, 65 questions right, you try to attempt less. Less in the sense, not less than 80. See, remember one thing, for prelims, attempting 80 questions is necessary, whatever be. Whether you are a first timer, second timer or whatever it is, minimum 80 number of questions must be attempted by everyone. So that is pakka. So after that, how many you attempt, it depends on the paper. It depends on the how the previous questions had gone for you. And also see, don't think that guessing a question is bad. Also, say for example, in a question you eliminated and there are only two options. So if you zeroed in and there are only two options, you must attempt that question because just think about it. If you get that question right, you will get +2 and the probability to get correct is 50-50. And if you get the question wrong, how much are you losing? So 1/3 of +2, which is how much? 0.66. So which is very less. So when you get, you'll get +2. When you lose, you'll get 0.66. So even if you get some 3 to 4 questions right and 2 to 3 wrong, even then you'll get some +4 to 5. So do not guess blindly, but guess the question when you have only two options remaining. And also one more habit which I had was I never used to I never used to leave a question like that. So I tried to find some mistake in the question or some point so that I can eliminate some options and zero in. So this is one more point which all of you can do. So don't leave any question directly. Try to find some mistake in the question. Try to eliminate some options. Try to just play the examiner. So just think how an examiner may think like and try to eliminate options. This only after doing the questions which I have already done correctly. So this is about attempting the paper. Yeah. Yeah. See, test series. Many people are asking questions about test series. See, test series, few people are there who write 80 tests, 90 tests, 100 tests. But my suggestion or my style way of option was not writing so many. I used to write only some 25 to 30 tests. Mostly I wrote full tests only. And some very few part tests. See, part tests I will write only for those areas which I am weak. So for example, environment and ecology and science and technology, you can write part tests also. But for other topics, you prefer full tests. That will help you. So you can choose any coaching institute. Like usually I used to write full tests from Vision IAS because the quality was good. So you can choose Vision IAS or people were saying GS Score. There are many things. You can choose anything. And most of them are available for free only. There are many sites, UPSC materials or I don't know. Some UPSC, just Google UPSC materials. There's a website which gives everything for free. Yeah. So see, what is more important is not writing more tests. What is more important is test analysis. Like I used to do only 35 to 30 tests, but I write the test for 1 hour and I analyze the test for 2 to 3 hours. So I write what are the mistakes I have made in a separate book. So that book I used to call mistakes register. So in that book, whatever mistakes are there, I used to copy them and I used to revise it again and again. So say for example, today I wrote a test. I got 60 questions right, but I got 40 questions wrong. So what I will do is, all those 40 questions, I will try to write down where I have gone wrong. I go back and see all the basic books where I have gone wrong. and I will note the important points from these 40 questions. Similarly, tomorrow I will write one more test. I will get 70 correct, 30 wrong. And again, I will write what are the mistakes I've made in a separate book. So like that, and don't write complete sentences. Like for example, if I write a test, in one sheet front and back, I used to write all the mistakes. So for example, 30 tests I used to write. So if I write 30 tests, I had 30 sheets. So before my prelims day, so for example, my prelims, I still remember the date, it was August 18th, 2016. So that day when I had, just before the day, what I did was, I just kept on revising the mistakes which I did, and I'm not exaggerating, at least some 7 to 8 questions directly came from the mistakes which I had written, like mistakes which I had committed when I had done those tests. And see, when you do something right, we will not remember, but when you do something wrong, you'll remember for life. So that happened with me also. So when I had written the test, I always write down my mistakes before the exam day. Don't do anything, just revise these mistakes from tests. That will only cover most of the portion which you have done. Okay, I'm talking so fast. Okay, fine. So I'll talk slowly. So you got my point, right? Analyzing the paper, and also analysis will also help you in this way. Say, for example, my strength was polity and economy. Like whatever question comes in polity and economy, even if I guess, I will do it right. So this I knew during my test analysis. Like polity and economy are my strength, and if I do, like mostly I will not do mistakes in them. However, medieval history and ancient history are such subjects where usually my guesses are wrong. So this will be different for each person. So for person, so like for me, polity, economy, guesses is my strength, and but guessing questions from ancient India, medieval India, usually they go wrong. So this I knew after I did those test analysis. Similarly, everyone should do your test analysis, and you should know what your strength is, what your weakness is, and based on that, you should apply in the real test. So try to do all those experiments in your practice test, so that in the real test you can do very well. Yeah. So next point is So people are asking how to improve your study efficiency. So I've told you most of the points. So I'll take just 5 to 10 more minutes, and I will tell you other small things which are important for your preparation. After that, you can ask me your queries and I will answer them. So efficiency. See, people are asking how many hours you have to study. See, many toppers will say, I read for only 7 hours, I read for only 8 hours, I read for only 6 hours. But that is not true. Everyone, whoever has cracked this exam, will try to study at least for 8 to 10 hours minimum per day. That is minimum. After that, you can do well and good, but 8 to 10 hours per day is compulsory, which you must do. And also remember, UPSC is not a sprint. UPSC is a marathon. So if you do 6 hours today, if you do 12 hours tomorrow, day after you do 14 hours, it will not help you. So try to be consistent. Consistency was the factor which helped me in my exam. So you have to be very, very consistent. So do 10 hours per day daily. See, one tip which I had given to many of my friends, which helped them, was I used to write a diary. Like in the diary, for example, today I woke up at 6 o'clock. In my diary, the first entry I will do is 6 a.m. woke up, 6 a.m. to 7:30 study session 1. I read polity. And at 7:30 I end. So I'll write 7:30 I end, 7:30 to 8:30 break, and then again I'll write 8:30 to 10:30 study. So daily I will record whatever activities I'm doing. So today I'll know that I've studied for 5 hours and I've wasted time for 4 hours, and I've spent other time for daily needs for 2 to 3 hours. So this I do. So daily I will know at the end of the day, like for example, if I'm sleeping at 10, 10:30 or 11. So I see, okay, so today I've started my day at 6 o'clock. I studied for 5 hours only, and I've wasted 4 to 5 hours in talking to a friend or watching a movie. So that will be pricking you. Okay, so today I've wasted so much time. No, this is a tough exam and I have to study properly. So this will always be your motivation. So write a diary, daily record your activities. Morning 8 to 10 I studied, 10 to 12 I wasted time, 12 to 2 I did this. And for me, like my father used to do an additional thing also. Like daily before sleeping, I have to message him my output. So that put a feeling of guilt. Like say for example, someday I study only for 3 hours because since I have to send this daily output to my father, I used to feel okay, they're so much concerned about me and I've studied only for 4 hours. What am I doing? I've come here to study. So this you can also do. You can send it to a friend or your father or mother, anyone. So daily, how many hours you study, you message to them, or you message to your father or mother or any friend, or if you have a spouse, you can send it to your spouse. So what that will help you is, that will always put a feeling of guilt, conscience and other things on you, and you will definitely improve, I'm telling you. And this helped many people. Like my roommates, I suggested when I suggested them, initially they were skeptical about it, but later they followed and it helped them a lot. So you can also follow that. Write a diary, see your output daily. Yeah. And also see this, I know that this preparation is very, very frustrating, boring sometimes. So what you do is be with positive people, okay? I had very good roommates. I don't know if my roommates are in the live session, like Prashant, Karthik and Bhavan. So these people were my roommates and they were very good, always positive, and they always used to motivate me, help me. So have a good friend circle who will motivate you, who will be good friends with you, who will talk positively. There are many pessimists, okay? Don't be friends with pessimists. These pessimists, what they do is they bring down your confidence. So what you do is daily you discuss. Say for example, I used to discuss with them, okay, so how much time did you study today? What all could you do today? And we used to do dinner together. So this you can do. During dinner we used to discuss, okay, so today you did this, what about that, what about this? So points like this. So you can do that also. So talk to positive people, have some good friends, have some friends outside preparation also. Don't have friends from civil services only. They'll tell you boring things. So whenever I used to talk with my civil services friends, they used to ask me, okay, so Chandish, how much did you study in polity? How much did you study in this? So this was a boring conversation. So sometimes I used to talk to my friends from college, Bits Pilani. So they used to tell me so many things. So they said, okay, so today we had this office, we had this boss who was so annoying. So they used to tell all good things or different things which are interesting. So you can do this also. Talk to people who are not in preparation also, at least for 10 minutes per day. So that will also refresh you. And yeah, see, one more thing is, whenever you feel very, very low, very, very demotivated, what you can do is, there are some Pradhan Mantri and Samvidhan episodes on YouTube. You can see that. Pradhan Mantri is a series by ABP News, and Samvidhan is another series, which is about how India has made its constitution. So they'll motivate you and they'll boost you. They will, what do you say? They'll be very entertaining also. So just see them. Like during my lunch time, I used to see them. I used to get my plate, sit in front of computer, see Pradhan Mantri episode and have a good time. So that you can do. And yeah, see, next thing is, consistency is the key in this preparation, okay? Everything else is secondary. For this preparation, if you want to crack this exam, consistency, perseverance, these two are the most important things. See, however hard work you do, sometimes luck will not be on our side. So prelims especially, I have few friends who are very good students, they do very well, but they have just missed the cutoff every time by half mark, 1 mark. They got always in 98, 99 when the cutoff was around 100. So what you do is, you should understand that if I fail in prelims once, I should be ready for the next attempt, which will be after 1 year. So your mind should always be prepared to ensure that even if I fail, I will do well again next time, and I will learn from my mistakes, and I do. It is not like, say for example, you make the same mistakes again and again. You have to learn from the mistakes of others also. Like during my first attempt, the mistake I did was, I did not focus on my optional properly. So because of that, I got very less score in my optional. Like in my first attempt in my optional, I only got 240. And that's not the mistake of anyone. Like I did not study properly and I did not balance time between GS and optional. So in the optional, I was so low in confidence that in my optional paper on, I left 30 to 40 marks. So that mistake was, I did in my first attempt. but I got very good score in my interview, and in my first attempt I got Indian Information Service. So I was lucky. But it does not happen always. So try to learn from not only your mistakes, but also from the mistakes of others also. So that is one important point which you have to remember. And never repeat the same mistakes. Because see, when you're doing a mistake in other exams, if say for example, if you do a mistake in prelims, you have to wait one whole year. If you do a mistake in mains, again one whole year. So this exam is a marathon. So remember to learn from your mistakes and correct them. For example, in my case, see, many people are asking me to save this video. Yeah, I'll do that. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah. So in my first attempt, optional, I told you I've got very less score. So next attempt, I was very careful. I gave equal time for both my optional anthropology and GS, and I balanced it. So next attempt, I improved my optional score from 240 to 302. It was a boost of 62 marks. So that alone ensured that I got IPS. So you got my point, right? You have to learn from your mistakes and ensure that you don't repeat the same mistakes again and again. Yeah, lastly, I'd like to tell one thing. Luck favors those who work hard. So I always believe in this concept. So if you work hard, if you work consistently, definitely luck will be on your side. In my 2016 attempt, I'll give you an example. Like there was one app called DigiLocker. It had come that time only. So me and my roommates just downloaded it for fun. Like I read a newspaper that some app had come. So I downloaded it and I told my friends also to download. And in that 2016 attempt, the question was about DigiLocker. What is DigiLocker? What are the features? What is it about? Direct question. So I worked hard and that helped me. And also there was one more question on Kalamkari painting. See, I'm from Chittoor, Andhra Pradesh. So there is a place called Srikalahasti. My mom is from that town. And she used to tell me about this Kalamkari painting and all. And that is a GI tag and that is in that area. So in that year, the question was directly, what is Kalamkari painting? Where is it originated? So that is another question which I could do properly. So just believe that if you work hard, definitely luck will be on your side. Yeah. And lastly, I'll say, see, work hard, put your best efforts, don't think about the result. This is what Gita says and I always believe that. Put your best efforts, work hard, success will be on your side. So that is the only mantra which I followed and which helped me and which helped many people. So if you do that, you will also definitely be successful. And remember that UPSC is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Just be confident, be cool, be calm, and have a lot of patience. Patience is one thing which will get you a rank in this exam. That I am the best example of that. So I was always very patient. See, in my first attempt, I was not confident of getting a service also, because I told you optional have directly left 40-50 marks. But still, I was not disheartened. I prepared for my second attempt. I thought I'll not even get an interview call. But in my first attempt, I got an interview call, and that year I got one of the highest scores and I got a service also. So you got my point, right? I did not think that I'll get an interview call and I prepared for my 2017 attempt. But I got an interview call, I got a service and I got a good service also. I hope you got the point. So just be confident, be cool, be calm, be with positive people and prepare properly. Luck will definitely be on your side and God will also help you. So that's it from my side. So if you have any questions, you can put in the comment section. I will try to answer them if they are very relevant. See, please don't ask me about mains preparation or interview preparation or anthropology strategy. Please keep your questions specific to prelims. Maybe we can have another session on main strategy or anthropology also, if possible. Yeah, someone is asking about the book list. See, book list, yeah, I made a blog. I have written half of the books which I told today. I've mentioned half of the books which I've told today. And tomorrow I'll write one more post and you can write in that also. You can see that for book list also, complete book list. Sridevi Sharma is asking tips for CSAT. Sridevi, CSAT I have not prepared much, so sorry I cannot give you any good suggestions for that. So CSAT, what you have to do is do many question papers. That will help you. And see, for CSAT, if you read newspapers properly, you can answer most of the comprehension questions. The problem is today people have become so lazy that many people they don't just left newspapers and they're just depending on sources like Insights on India or a YouTube newspaper analysis. Please don't do that. Read newspapers properly, read editorials. You'll get good English, and also the comprehension which they give in UPSC CSAT is also of good quality English which comes in newspapers. So if you read Hindu properly, comprehensions you can get, and comprehensions are only are itself some 10 to 20 questions. So 1/3 of it will be done. What about current affairs sources? I've already told it. See, I will save this video. You can see in that video, please. I don't want to repeat. In newspaper, which is the important part? See, there is no important part as such. See, what you have to do before starting your preparation is remember the syllabus by heart. This is the first thing I tell to any aspirant. Syllabus should be there on your fingertips. So if I read something in newspaper, I will know that it's not there in my syllabus. I will leave that, especially main syllabus. For example, when I'm reading, I'll give you I'll tell you about the Rajasthan controversy. In Rajasthan, there is so much controversy about elections. About anti-defection, BJP going close to a political leader, or so and so. There are so many political controversies. I will not remember all of them. For my exam, what is important is my exam has a specific topic called Parliament. So in Parliament, there is Speaker. So I will remember, okay, in this issue, what is the role of Speaker? What will Speaker do? And also, there is something called anti-defection law. So anti-defection law is another topic which is related to Rajasthan controversy, which is there in my syllabus. So I will not see whether BJP is coming close or whether Mr. Pilot is forming another party. Those are not related. I will only think about the syllabus aspects. Anti-defection law, syllabus aspect. One more aspect is role of speaker, and also one more thing which you can think about is coalition governments. So these are the aspects which you can relate, which is related to exam point of view. How can beginner get syllabus? It's there in the notification. Like you can simply do a UPSC CSC notification 2020 PDF. Google it. You'll get the proper document. Tell about maps. See, I've already told you there is a book for maps. Buy this book called India Through Maps by Prem Patel. So that book has properly all the lakes written, hills written, everything, and you can directly read from that. Indian Express, yeah, Indian Express is also fine, not a problem. You have any YouTube channel? Sorry, I don't have. Notes for every subject? Notes for NCERT. See, you make notes only for those which you cannot revise properly. Hindi newspaper, sorry, I'm not aware, Simran. Sir, मैं क्या books consult करो UPSC के लिए? Faizan, I have already told them, you can see the video, like after some time, this IGTV video will come up in the same channel, you can see that. What's your experience in NPA? My experience in NPA is very, what do you say, life-changing. I've learnt a lot. So from a college boy, I can say I've turned into a mature person, all thanks to IPS training. The way I talk has changed, the way I behave has changed. So IPS training is wonderful and it changes you as a person. Can I give this exam in Hindi? Yeah, why not? Your notes, please upload in your blog. Naveen, I don't have much notes now. I have given it off to many people. History tips I have already mentioned. Current Affairs magazine monthly. You can follow Vision IAS. It's good. Sridevi, you cleared all my doubts. Thank you. Reading strategy. Okay. So reading strategy. See, what I used to do is I read very fast. I try to underline it. See, I used to read multiple times. In my first reading, I just read very fast. In the second reading, I used to read slowly all those highlighted points. which I have read in my first reading. So that is one thing which you can also follow. So let me know how I can improve my English. Please read Times of India initially and then Hindu. You can improve. Can I give mains in English and interview in Hindi? Why not? Blog name. See, blog name, what you do is type G space Chandish IPS blog in Google, you'll get it. G space Chandish, CHANDEESH. See, you can message me personal queries, but that's too much. No need to do. See, about essay, we'll have some other session. Essay is not something small. You have to do a lot. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. How to improve strike rate? Just write many tests. You'll know how you're doing well, which are your strong areas, weak areas, and then you can do. That's it. I hope, sir, how you were elimination technique in prelims? See, you eliminate. How do I say how you eliminate? See, for example, in the options, some are completely irrelevant. Those you can eliminate. And also, if you know, see, if on some question you know at least something, you can eliminate one option. 3 options might remain. And again, you have to use some common sense and all. Okay, so I think that's it. We'll end today. It's already 1 hour 15 minutes. So thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure talking to all you guys. I hope it was useful, and I hope your time of 1 hour was not wasted, and at least you can take some points out of it. Thank you.